Am I the asshole for leaving my wife and kids? Advice needed. I'm sure the title will lead most to say yes, but I feel right in my reasons to leave. This happened years ago. I married the wrong woman. My ex is internally a very angry person and wanted to be very controlling, usually in varying dramatic ways, and eventually years of this caused our divorce. Together we had 3 boys, 3 and 4 years apart. My eldest was 9 when the divorce happened. My ex took them to her parents' house, a 20-minute drive from our house that I had built myself 10 years prior. She burned my house down not long after while I was at work. No one was hurt and I have no real proof it was her, nothing really came of it. The fire was suspicious, but it was in the days before doorbell cameras. I think she just lit a massive fire in the fireplace. So I left. I had a job that was very specialized, high in demand generally everywhere, and back then you could get a job with a smile and a handshake. First I went to a major city in Canada that starts with T, saved cash for about a year and then moved to a small town about 2,500 kilometers from home. In this small town I kept the same job, ended up meeting another woman, and we had 1 child together. She and I are still married. My kids from my previous marriage would come to stay with us for summers during school break. I thought they enjoyed the summers. They built go-karts and raced them 1 year. We were always camping, etc. My eldest dropped out of high school at home, and my younger 2 from the previous marriage eventually moved in with us for their last years of high school. They grew up. They've had children. I have 10 grandchildren and they're starting to grow up too. I'm dying. Good days and bad, but the good are quickly getting rarer. My kids are talking to each other about it, and individually to me. My youngest son, from my current marriage, called my second youngest for support after having dealt with me on a particularly bad day. My youngest thinks his older brothers hold a great debt of resent towards him for being my replacement family, and me for leaving them with a mother that didn't spend child support on things like electricity or running water. I haven't spoken to my oldest children about my conversation with my youngest yet. I'm not sure if I should bring it up or let them, if they want to. I felt justified with my decision, but I am no longer sure I'm at peace with it. Am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for asking my ex-husband's girlfriend to stop posting our kids on social media? I, 33F, have asked multiple times that my ex-husband, 32M, ask his girlfriend to stop posting our kids on social media. Every ask has been met with lots of conflict and arguing. My favorite line is him claiming I'm being controlling. Here's some backstory for y'all. We were together for 11 years, married for 6, we have 2 kids together, and he helps raise my oldest. We've been separated since last Halloween and divorced fully since May. Ex-husband and his girlfriend have been together since February. She met my kids about 10 days after she met him and has been in their lives ever since. They live together and she seems to really love my kids. I don't really have a problem with her, except she continues to post my kids on social media with captions that make me and my family members extremely uncomfortable. I don't post my kids on social media often, and when I do it's a couple pictures and it's private, just fun updates for long-distance family. She's posting 60 to 70 pictures at a time and frequently, with captions like, "Our girls." She also doesn't like that I post about the things my ex-husband did to me through our relationship, so she has my Facebook blocked, so most of these posts are being shown to me by close family and friends who see it and are uncomfortable. My ex-husband thinks I'm just trying to be controlling and refuses to do anything about it. Am I the asshole for asking for these posts to be removed and for her to stop posting them? Am I the asshole for saying my cousin's intellectual disability is probably because of the incest? Throw away account cause I'm mortified. My 21F parents had a get-together lunch among close family members last Sunday. Me and my cousins were adding wedding dates from the piling invites to the calendars to make sure we don't miss any. I was joking about never understanding the familial ties in our native language, as in how you call cousins, or aunts, or just the word in our language, as I was used to learning those words in English. My grandma, through my mother, was joking about how I am being too Western and was helping me connect how I was related to the people in the invites. For invites in, me on a roll with being too loose-mouthed from all the food I was eating, asked my dad how the father of the bride in the invite was related to him. He said cousin, and I should have stopped there. But did I? No. I was bored, so I asked him to detail it more. He said, well, the bride's grandfather and his mother are siblings. He paused, and added well, I would also be his, bride's father, uncle too. Now listen, I know incest used to be a thing. I know it used to happen. I didn't know it happened in mine. So I grimaced and started laughing uncomfortably. My uncle started explaining more, seeing my disgust. Long story short. My grandfather is my grandmother's uncle. My grandmother's mother and my grandfather are half-siblings. I edited it from step to half-siblings. I made a mistake in the wording, so my grandfather's dad and grandmother's grandfather are the same person. Me and my cousin started making those gagging noises while pushing the invites away and grimacing while walking around, and our parents tried overcompensating with excuses. I know they don't owe explanation for the choices of their parents and the others preceding them. The generation above mine share the sentiment that incest is a big no. I don't know why they kept defending it, but yeah. Here is where I said something fucked. I asked my dad if he realizes that his grandfather and his mother's grandfather are the same person. I added it with children born from incest have higher chances of intellectual disabilities, right? My cousin added explains why my brother has that. And I immediately started nodding and said exactly. My cousin does have mental disability and is nonverbal. Both me and my cousin were screamed at and told to come back home later. I know it is fucked to say that, but me and my cousin were just getting more and more uncomfortable. We came back later and apologized. But my uncle and aunt refused to speak to me and my cousin. So, AiTAH for saying that my cousin's intellectual disability is probably because of the incest. Edit. Adding this from the confusion in comments. I sent this to my cousin and he asked me to add some more information. They are blood related. I worded the post wrongly by using step-siblings. My grandmother's mother and grandfather are half-siblings with the same father. One main reason for the disgust was me and my cousin already knew that my grandmother was 18 when my grandfather was in his early 40s when they got married. The age gap with the added knowledge that they are related was one of the main reasons. Another reason why I spoke on it was because last September we attended a wedding where the couple were second cousins and had blood relations, so while my parents and their cousins have moved away from this, others in our family still commit incest. This was why I made the comment on intellectual disability from my parents defending it while incest is a thing in the larger family circle. I understand that I was being an asshole and so does my cousin. Update. My cousin and I since posting this have talked to his parents about the incident. We apologized for the comments and we are good. I just have to address this, me and my cousin weren't mocking our brother for the disability. My cousin's parents were hurt because the way it all went down made it look like we were blaming them. Me and my cousin apologized and said that we were more hung up on what happened between our grandparents and my dad excusing it. We made it clear that we knew they were never at fault and apologized again. I had also mentioned about the wedding we attended recently being incestual and about intellectual disabilities, which lead to my cousin making the comment about his brother. I love my cousin and the cousin who made the comments definitely loves his brother. My uncle and his aunt know that. My cousin is the closest person to him. My cousin has also gotten in multiple fights with other family members over comments they have made about his brother over the years. Both of us went too far with our comments and his parents understood that it spiraled at the heat of the moment. My uncle at the end jokingly added that as a punishment me and my cousin should be attending all the weddings we got invites for because both of us have a habit of skipping them. We are fine, but thanks for the comments. Am I the asshole for refusing to send all of my niece's presents to my brother and sister-in-law's house? I, 23F, need some help here because I feel like I'm being made out to be the asshole here, but I honestly don't think I am. So, my brother, 29M, and his wife, 29F, are expecting us to send their daughter, 20-month F, all Christmas presents to their house so they can open them on Christmas morning there. They said they'd record it for us so we could watch her open them, which confused us because for years since my brother was born we would make it a whole family thing. We open what we get from put parents and then go to our grands to open presents from everyone else, but they just want every single present at theirs. But the thing is, some of the gifts I bought, particularly the bigger dollhouses and toys, are staying at my house for niece to open when she visits us. I don't want all the gifts leaving our home just to be transported back hours later. It makes no sense to me, and I want niece to have some gifts with us too. That, plus my sister-in-law said that all the presents should be to stay at their house, which, again I don't understand as niece will have plenty to go around and I just thought that keeping 2 here at my house with my parents, M50, F50, would be a good idea for when niece comes to visit us all so she has more age-appropriate toys. When I told them this, they kept pushing, insisting that everything should be at their house for their family Christmas morning. They even went so far as to text my mom, trying to make it seem like we were upset, when honestly we were just trying to set boundaries. To be honest, I feel like this has highlighted a bigger problem. My brother and his wife have been distancing themselves from our family for years, choosing to spend almost all of their time with sister-in-law's family. This has made my mum hurt, my dad furious, and me and my sister, F19, feel like we barely even have a relationship with my brother anymore. I'm left wondering if I'm wrong for wanting to keep some of niece's presents at my house for her to open here, and to not be forced into sending everything over for them to control the Christmas morning experience. My mum is worried that if we try to fight back my brother and sister-in-law will stop us from seeing niece ever again. It's gotten to the point where I left my sister-in-law's saying, right, fine, and leaving her on read. It stressed me out and upset me. I understand they want family time with her in the morning, but having every present in their house, it just doesn't make sense to me. I wasn't brought up like that, nor was my brother. My mum's given up and has now just finished wrapping up all their presents and put them in a bag ready for her to take them up to their place, including my brother's and sister-in-law's presents, because if they want nieces they can have it all at this point. I've done the same. Picked out 2 of the presents for my niece and saving the rest for her birthday. And gave my mum my brother and sister-in-law's present to put in the bag. So, am I the asshole? Am I the asshole for buying a $50,000 guitar for $4,000 and refusing to sell it back when the buyer found out the real value? This happened a while back. My wife and I still talk about it every once in a while. She's on my side and most of our friends and family are. However, when it happened it was like WW3 between us and her coworkers and others. Here we go, I've been playing the guitar for 22 years. I know guitar values and whatnot very well. I'm very into the guitar market. At my wife's old company she was hanging out with coworkers one day after work and she mentioned that I play guitar. A coworker who I guess is very popular at work said that his dad passed away and he was selling his dad's things. His dad had a guitar and asked my wife if I'd be interested in it. My wife texted me and I said to have him send me the info on the guitar and the price. The next day he texted me the pics and price. It was a 1952 Telecaster in mint condition. He had the original receipts, which was crazy. That's how I knew the date. I asked what he wanted for it and he said he looked up Telecasters online and he thinks $4,000 is fair. I texted back, I'll take it for $4,000, and went to pick it up. The guitar had no sentimental value to him at all. Here's the issue at hand. The guitar is worth approximately $50,000 depending on the buyer and I knew it. When I got the guitar I told my wife the price and what it was worth. She was floored. Fast forward 2 weeks, her coworker tells my wife he just found out what the guitar was actually worth from a family friend and wanted it back. She said, well, he really likes the guitar and he knew it was worth $50,000, which is why he was floored you offered it to him for $4,000. He really likes it and I doubt he will sell it back, but you can ask. Probably not the smartest thing for her to say, but she was caught off guard and it's not her fault or problem. He contacted me and asked to buy it back. I said that it's not for sale. He then said I scammed him and he was going to sue me and take my wife to HR for being a part of the scam. Which was nuts, but he actually did contact HR. They were cool about it and said it's not their problem. It's between him and me. Over the next few months he made things very uncomfortable for my wife at work. He would bug her constantly about it. She eventually had to go to HR for harassment and they actually let him go. She complained twice and he was warned and didn't stop. He's contacted me several times about it, so I got a restraining order for harassment too. I blocked him too. I haven't heard from him in about a year. Am I the asshole? Update. Well, this post blew up way beyond what I was expecting. It looks like I was voted not the asshole. There's over 5,000 comments. I couldn't read them all, but I did read a lot. Just to clear up some things. I left some things out because I didn't want it to influence opinions and really wanted it to be about me buying a guitar at significantly lower market value versus the people in the story. I did include the fact that the guy was harassing my wife at work, not to make the guy sound bad, but because I thought it was relevant to the story. Here's some specific details I chose not to include. The guy and his dad were not close at all. So those people saying he was grieving and I took advantage of him, that is 100% not the case. When I went to get the guitar he was telling me he hadn't talked to his dad in 6 years and was actually annoyed he had to deal with a funeral. The dad bought the guitar new and never played it. Luckily it was stored in a closet and not in a basement or attic. There's no issue with the wood or electronics. It plays like a dream and I couldn't be happier. I am not selling the guitar to the son or anyone. It will be with me for a long time. I'm in my 30s, so maybe in 30 years it will find a new home. I would have maybe considered giving the guy more money or giving him one of my guitars to sell on his own, but I decided not to do that after he left a terrible voicemail on my phone the day he found out the real value. He demanded it back like he was entitled to an object he sold fair and square, called me a POS, called my wife a POS and said he would do bad things if I didn't sell him the guitar back. And to those people who say they would have told the guy the real value, that's a load of horse shit. If you went to a garage sale/estate sale and saw an item worth $5,000 priced at $50, there's not a snowball's chance in hell you would walk up to the homeowner and tell them they mispriced it. You'd buy the item and then tell all your friends and family what a great score you got. Don't even kid yourself like you wouldn't do that. I don't feel bad about buying an awesome guitar at a steal of a price. I was curious what others would think and it looks like I'm not the asshole, so thank you Reddit. I can play the guitar with zero guilt now. Not like I felt guilty before, but now my feelings are justified. Am I the asshole for breaking a patient's confidentiality to tell my friend that her boyfriend is HIV+? This has been eating me up inside for the past week, so I'm going to lay it all out here. One of my closest friends, Amanda, started dating a guy, Matt, about 2 months ago. I'd met him twice before and he seemed pretty seedy to me, but she was happy, so overall I was happy for them. I work at our local hospital. I won't divulge too much about my role, but I am not involved in providing medical care, i.e., I am not a physician or nurse, but I do have access to patient records and am permitted to look through them under certain circumstances with ethics approval. I came across Matt's chart just over a week ago. I was not snooping, I was explicitly gathering patient information for an approved task and he was one of the patients in the pile of charts. It's not too much of a coincidence, I was going through 500 patient records, and this is the only nearby hospital. I discovered that Matt was HIV+ from his chart. I was unsure whether Amanda was aware. I wrestled with this in many different directions. Should I mind my own business and not violate confidentiality and risk her contracting the disease? Should I approach him first, even though it's not my place and we've only met twice? Should I go straight to her just to confirm that she knows? Ultimately I felt an obligation to her as my friend, and to her well-being, so I told her. Knowing her, I felt like she was unaware since she is generally extremely risk-averse and something seemed off about this guy, so I felt like approaching him might not accomplish anything. She was shocked to find out about his HIV status, and broke up with him. Amanda was thankful to me, but evidently she let him know how she found out, as I was let go from my position 2 days ago. I understood the risk I was taking, and was hoping it was a calculated risk, but now I'm wondering if I overstepped by breaking confidentiality. Am I the asshole for being pissed at my parents for taking us to Athens, Georgia instead of Athens, Greece? I'm 17F always wanted to go to Greece. I love Greece so much to the point where I taught myself how to speak Greek, both Standard and Cypriot, and I can read ancient Greek. I've read the Iliad, Odyssey, and many other of Homer's books in ancient Greek, and I watch TV, sports, movies and play video games in Greek, and I got online Greek friends who I do it with in Greek. I've got Greek friends in Athens, Thessaloniki and Larnaca that I want to meet, so that's why I was so excited when my parents said they would take us on a family vacation to Athens. This would be the first time I would leave the country and go on a plane. This happened during an amazing party, but if it was during the only time we could go to Greece I would do it. My friends understood. I made a plan of everything I wanted to see in Greece: Meteora, Olympiakos Stadium, Acropolis, Plaka, among other things all over Athens, and if we had time perhaps Thessaloniki, Sparta, or some other cities. I also made it a priority to go check out universities in Greece, as that's where I want to go. That I showed my parents this and they were like, yes sure you can do that, we don't care. Trip is in February. We fly to Atlanta. I assumed it was a layover. We land and my parents said we need to get to the hotel and need a rental car. Weird, but whatever, wasn't paying attention. Well, we drive for an hour or so and I fall asleep in the car, and then we get to Athens, Georgia, and my parents say, hey, we're here. Wake up sleepyhead, and I see a sign that says welcome to Athens, Georgia. My sister starts laughing her ass off and my dad starts giggling. I asked them if this was a joke and they said no, that we're going on vacation to Athens, Georgia, to my dad's friend's lake house. I have never been more angry in my entire life. We were at a gas station and I argued with my parents. They told me I was a disrespectful brat and that I should be thankful they're taking us on vacation. They said they can't afford to take me to Europe and this is the best thing they could do. I told they're pieces of shit because I missed my friend's birthday party for this boring-ass trip in the middle of nowhere in Georgia, and this was like some fucked up joke that everyone knew about but me. My parents of course keep screaming at me saying I'm a disrespectful brat, and I told them to go fuck themselves, and I elbowed the car window in my anger several times, breaking it but cutting myself. I ran on a bus going to Atlanta. Parents are telling me to come back. I told them to fuck off and I called my friend who used to go to my school but goes to university in Atlanta. He picked me up and I've been at his place with his GF since school got cancelled in Missouri not soon after. My parents went from being furious to being worried and are begging me to come back. I told them to fuck off. Am I the asshole for declining to walk my daughter down the aisle at her wedding? About 8 years ago, I got a message on Facebook from a teenager asking if I knew her mother back in college, because she might be my kid. Now, after I got over the shock, I messaged her back. We talked a little bit. I paid for a DNA test. Turns out I have a daughter. We'll call her Jenny. We talked for a little bit. I got to know her stepdad, Jim, and her mom, Tina, ONS. I didn't even know her last name 25 years ago, and her younger half-siblings, and they're all pretty cool. In particular, cannot praise Jim enough. He's one of the nicest guys I've ever met. Basically a human teddy bear, this guy. Overall, I'd say Jenny and I have a decent enough relationship. I never married, and I don't have any other children, so I've been taking her on vacations with me, and she's spent a few holidays at my house, but overall our relationship is much more like that of two adults, rather than a parent and child. She doesn't call me dad, she calls Jim dad, and me Matt. I contributed to her college fund, but not as much as Jim and Tina did, and that wasn't as big a deal for me because I make a lot more money than they do and have no other kids. Last week, she called me to tell me that her long-term boyfriend proposed, and asked me to walk her down the aisle. I told her that I was honored, but that I didn't think it was fair for me to take that moment from Jim, who raised her since she was a toddler, just because we share DNA. She said that she actually wants both of us to walk her down the aisle, one on either side. I told her that I didn't think it was fair to ask him to share that moment either, and that even if Jim said he was okay with it, and I'm sure he would, because Jim wouldn't deny Jenny anything, no matter how much it hurt his feelings, it probably broke his heart for her to ask that. And she said okay, and hung up, but she hasn't been as happy to talk to me since. AiTAH for saying no, or do I just need to give her some time to adjust? Edit, thanks for all the advice. Last night I called Jenny, apologized for hurting her feelings, and asked her to meet Jim and me for Sunday brunch so that we could talk about and work out how to do this all together, so we'll hopefully come to me an amicable solution that makes everyone happy. Edit number 2, post-brunch update. Sorry this took so long, brunch ran late. It kind of turned into lunch, and then into the waitress giving us mean looks for hogging a table for so long, but the talk was productive and I tipped well, so I call this a win. So we all met at the restaurant, Jenny, Jim, Jenny's fiancé who by coincidence has the same name as me, so we'll call him Other Matt, and me. We beat around the bush for about 20 minutes while we ordered and waited for our food, and then we got down to it, and after a lot of discussion, and reassurance that we all love each other very much, except Other Matt, who barely knows me, but seems alright, we came to a decision. I will walk Jenny into the church, and pass her off to Jim, who will walk her down the aisle while I get to my seat. Thanks again to everyone for the advice. I'm really looking forward to the wedding.